Everybody, Ralph Havens here, autoimmuneanswers.com. And this morning, what came up in my meditation and for the session today for you, for every day, pretty much every day of the week, I do a video session for everybody using matrix energetics and a lot of other cool stuff. So what you might want to do is test something for yourself. You know, check your neck, check your back, walk around, see how you feel, and then watch the video and notice what's different. And today, what came up was quite a while back, I had somebody ask me, you know, Ralph, you tell the story of this one woman. Her name's Wanda. She's on my website in the testimonial section. But there was an amazing miracle that happened when I first started using matrix energetics back in 2009. And since then, I've taken 35 classes or more now of matrix energetics over 10 years. And it's just been an amazing journey. But after the first class, it was actually 3 classes back to back to back. And I was back in my clinic in San Diego, and I had a woman that had a massive change in one instant. And what happened was, let me just make sure this is good. Yeah, what happened was she came to me with as a new client, and I remember the day specifically. It was a Friday, I believe. And she was late and she was filling out her paperwork, and I set the space up to go to where it's already done. Like I was taught in matrix energetics. I had just taken my first 3 classes, and she walked in with all these complaints of, or you know, I asked her, how's it going? What's going on? What do you need help with? And environmental sensitivities, chemical sensitivities, chronic pains of all sorts. She was on disability. She had anxiety and depression, and it was a really bad time of the year, the fall, and that's when she usually had big problems and couldn't put a purse on her shoulder and all sorts of stuff. And she had just started taking painting classes. And the session was about a second long. And I did what's called a Matrix Energetics 2-point. And I had just learned it and used it for 5 days in a row. And it was about a 6-day period, but there was a day off in between. So 5 days of classes though. And she started to roll around the floor and do all these unexpected things and looked like she was in pain, and then like she was in ecstasy. And I was just following her around because I thought I should at least look like I'm working because she's paying me for this. And afterwards she just said, oh my God, what was that? And she had this massive change. And at the time we were taking insurance. We don't do that anymore. But so her doctor had said, come see me for 6 visits. So each of the 6 visits was something like that. It was just incredible. And then she was gone for about 6 months. And I emailed her because I was like, what happened to her? What happened to Wanda? It was such a great result, great session. And she said, you don't understand. I knew the instant my anxiety and depression went away. And she ended up going to Europe and carrying a little backpack and taking many more painting classes. And since then, she's become a very accomplished painter. We've actually bought some of her paintings, and it's just wonderful. And she's in galleries in San Diego, and she travels around and she paints all the time. And so my client quite a while back, a few weeks, months ago or so, was saying, Ralph, can't that just happen? You know, I heard about this miracle, and how come that doesn't always happen? And so a couple of things that I noticed, you know, since that time, I've become friends with Wanda, and she's also continued to get treatments, sessions here and there and here and there. And she's even visited me up here in the Pacific Northwest and had sessions, and every layer is just a deeper layer. And of course, we're always healing and we're always in process, right? It's not like we're a finished product while we're here on Earth, I guess, you know. So she kept changing and transforming. And one thing that I noticed with her was she was always painting. Like she'd be in a restaurant painting, and the waitress would come up, the server, and she would say, hey, I just painted this for you. And it was a painting about the waitress's, the server's father. She didn't know her, and but she was like called to paint this thing, and the waitress would just start crying because she had just lost her father, and just big, deep stuff was coming up, and it was like, oh my God. And so Wanda was in this space of the infinite, in miracles and magic, but what the interesting thing is, she was doing what she loved to do, and she was doing it. She didn't stop doing it. She painted all the time, and she took painting classes. and she took painting workshops, and she studied with lots of great painters, and she went out and put herself out there and got in galleries, and her son worked with her to help with their other business of getting her work out there, and she did a lot of work. So she didn't just have a miracle and then that was it and life's over and poof, that's it. She worked really hard, but for her, work was like her passion. She did her art all the time. And so that's one thing that was kind of cool, was I got to see how, and it's been my experience too, like, you know, I do a lot of work. I do videos, I study with teachers, with coaches, we do stuff. And I do my miracles and my magic and my matrix energetics all the time. It's what I do, but to other people and to me too, sometimes it feels like a lot of work. And so I think there's something about that. There can be a miracle and there can be a lot of process, a lot of stuff. And I think that's the thing. Now, something happened during those first few years of matrix energetics, and I notice it here now. It's just that it's different now. And what happened was, I had a client on a Friday. I think it was another Friday because there was a weekend coming up. And this was many years ago. And it was a great session. I was doing matrix energetics, lots of good changes. She was feeling lots of good stuff. And then she said something. She said that she was an artist and that she had made this big multimedia painting thing. And it was all about the pain and sorrow of her divorce and the betrayal and the loss, and how she was never going to be the same. And just, I don't know if that was actually in it, but it felt like that. And it was so hard. And as soon as she said it, it just hit me right in the heart. I mean, I had a physical pain in my heart. And I was like, golly, what the heck? It's Friday. And for the entire weekend, I had a physical pain in my heart. And I kept thinking about it and I felt it. And I was like, oh God, why did she zap me? And why did I let her zap me? And oh my God, you got to protect yourself from this kind of stuff. And now it's kind of different. So after all these years of doing stuff and trying to figure stuff out, I found something. And what I found was that she didn't zap me. She exposed something that was already in me, right? And so what do you do with that? What do you do with that? And so what I found is, yes, there's matrix energetics, and there's like drop into the space of miracles, and miracles can happen in an instant. That was a good click. And then when something happens, do you need to protect yourself from stuff like that? What I found is that deep stuff is where the miracle is, in that pain, in that thing, in that obstacle, in that challenge, when it really gets you. And so what I found was a technique that's not matrix energetics, but that can go directly to that, and how to unlock that. And so the challenge, the thing that happened, somebody zapping you or something happening, is now this amazing miracle because you can go find it. It's not even like you got to go find it. It showed itself up right there. And then there's a way to let it out, to let it unravel, to let it really shift. And then because of that, you're at a whole nother level. And so I use the matrix energetics and this ancient technique. It's a very ancient technique. And I believe it's the truth. You know, what is true anyway? We'll maybe find out when we're dead, maybe, huh? But this truth, I think, it doesn't have meaning in the way that, in my experience, it doesn't have meaning in the way you have to like figure it out or know what it means, or some sort of truth like that. I think it's different than that. And I think it goes with that spiritual promise, I guess you'd call it, be still and know that I am God. And so that truth, I think, is right there. And you don't have to go looking for it. It'll show itself up right there. And so there's a way to play with miracles, the matrix energetics and magic. And there's a way to go deep into when it shows you where the truth is. And then there's something to do. And of course, later, then there's things to do in the physical world. But in the physical world, as you're going through all the work some of this truth will show up. You know, people, I think, you know, it's been said, if you want to become enlightened, you know, that you can go on a mountain and meditate, but go have a family, get a spouse, you know, get a job, try to do a business that where you put yourself out there. Now your stuff's going to show up, right? Your stuff's going to show up. And now let's go deal with that. And so a lot of stuff in this session, but there's a way to use both the matrix energetics and this ancient technique and go right to the truth. And then to clear it, to notice it, to let it unravel. And so what I've been doing it for about 4 years or so, maybe 5 now. God, I think it's about 5 years. Once a month, a group session. It's a healing and coaching session, and it's called Miracles, Magic, Healing, and More. And this Sunday, if you're watching live, it happens once a month. This Sunday is the next one. And in this one, I do different versions of all of this kind of stuff to help people shift things with miracles, with magic, with matrix energetics, with other stuff that I found. And this Sunday, what we're going to be doing is going deep into how to use this matrix energetics for yourself and how to use this ancient technique and to find your truth and then to let it unravel. And so I'm doing it, and this Sunday you can have it for free if you want. And so if you want to go to www.ralphhavens/free miracle session, www.ralphhavens.com/free miracle session. And if you're watching live, it'll be this Sunday, 12 noon Pacific time. If you can't watch it at that exact time, you can watch it later, and you'll have the video to keep for as long as you want and watch it over and over and over again. And get this way to play with these two parts, the miracle part and this technique, this process to use to really uncover your truth and help you get what you want. So if you're interested, I hope to see you. And if it's something useful, then you can continue. And once a month, we do it every month. So that's what I got for you today. Again, notice what you notice that's different after watching even this video. And notice how your neck is and your back and your shoulders, and notice what's different. And let me know, comment below, subscribe, and join me this Sunday if you like. www.ralphhavens/free miracle session. All right, bye now.